There's a lot to talk about Kendall Roy. His mumbo-jumbo corporate speak, his amazing fashion sense, or potential in the rap industry.
And after a lot of convincing, well, here we are.
They're all very interesting topics. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to cover these amazing qualities he has. The purpose of this video is to expose all the gaping flaws in the guy. I mean, he has millions of chances to take down his father and rule the roost, but he ends up stuffing it up every single time. Is Logan really that overpowered? I set out to find the answers to these questions through hours of research and hard work, watching my favorite TV show. In this video, I will list out why I think Kendall was fully capable of beating Logan. He just needed to beat himself. We'll start at season 3, right? At the end of season 2, Kendall absolutely roasted Logan, and it seemed like Logan kinda liked it. His son had finally turned into a stone-cold killer. Shots fired, broken Kendall retired. But what we begin to see in season 3 isn't a new enlightened Kendall. As time passes by, we see the same insecure kid who can't rally his siblings together, doesn't listen to the more experienced professionals around him, and who constantly needs validation. With every step, this man is self-sabotaging his path to easy success away. It's interesting though how quietly this creeps up on us, the audience, because in a way, we are guilty of the exact same delusions Kendall is. That Logan is definitely going down in spectacular fashion this season. The show does a great job at making Kendall a great and wholly unreliable narrator. We are blind to these questions because we, the audience, are so engrossed in the momentum and the power shift being generated. Every ebb and flow that Kendall rides, we're along that ride with him. And despite Kendall's own gaping flaws, we share a fundamental perspective with him. That Logan is much worse, and that he is our antagonist. And in stories like these, morality is supposed to eventually win, and the bad guys should get the karma that's coming to them. But this story isn't that. Our preconceived ideas are shattered because this story hits a little closer to home. To the real world, where it's often the case that
money wins.
Overall, Jesse Armstrong does a great job at giving us a teaspoonful of sweet cathartic justice before then pulling the tablecloth from under it, just for us to be left in a dismal array until the feeling of defeat subsides and the next spoonful of hope catches our eye. That's exactly how Kendall feels, and explains why he may be a little too sensitive to the changing events. But I'll give us, the audience, some credit. It's pretty damn obvious Kendall is often too high up in the clouds, and just the perfect archetype of a great democratic hero whose only weapons are truth and kindness.
Fucking fire you if you keep monkeying around. Put the fucking snacks away.
Jokes aside, if you want to truly understand Kendall Roy, you need to understand this. Kendall is an addict. Let's start with the Oxford definition of addicted. To physically and mentally be dependent on a particular substance. He's addicted to drugs and alcohol, yes, but in season 3 he replaces this addiction with an addiction to attention. Attention from the media, attention from the new inner circle he has formed, who are paid to believe in him. But the practice of switching one addiction with another isn't unique to Kendall. This is actually a well-known psychological phenomenon called substitute addiction. Notice how dependent he is on the high and how far he falls when his expectations don't meet reality. And to avoid withdrawals, he does everything in his power to keep the ball rolling and the delusion deluding. Even at the beginning of the season, he's relying on short-term hedonistic feedback loops. How is the media talking about me?
Good tweet, bad tweet!
He loves hearing what the internet has to say about him. He loves the attention. And when the attention gets too negative, he chooses to rationalize it as love or...
This is being in the conversation.
His addictive personality goes hand in hand with something else though. Something much deeper. Kendall doesn't actually want to win. Okay, let's start with something we can all agree on. Watching this amazing drama, Neither of the siblings know what to actually do with power. They always get within arm's reach but quickly fumble it away. Kendall, as we've discussed, is the king of self-sabotage. Out of all the siblings, he has the most opportunities but always throws them away. He does it more times than I can count. But is this on purpose? Let's think about it. Rock bottom is safe for Kendall, and we only ever see him genuinely happy and free when he's high on cocaine. In this state, he does what he wants, no guilt or pressure to live up to a standard. He's actually more himself at this point in time than any other in the series. So it makes sense that anytime responsibility might say hello, guess what? He gets spooked because that means goodbye to his authentic free old self. This might take a little while to digest. So what about an example to illustrate? Shiv's wedding in Season 1, Episode 10. Kendall goes drunk driving and ends up at the bottom of a lake the day before the takeover bid. Is this coincidence? Just a plot device? Or is it a small window into Kendall's beautifully complex character? Think about what winning would actually mean for Kendall. First off, it would mean killing his dad. And Kendall doesn't want to kill anybody, at least not yet. What it also means is responsibility. It means being the ideal CEO where he has to live up to the shadow of his father. He would have to leave behind that world of comfort where losing is a forgivable sin. We also have a slightly related idea, the upper limit problem. An idea born from psychologist Gay Hendricks, which says we only allow as much goodness in life as we think we deserve. Low self-esteem people, like Kendall, self-sabotage because they secretly think they are unworthy. The important thing to understand is this is all subconscious. He isn't in his lair plotting, okay, I'm nearly there, now how do I blow this up? No, Kendall still has an ego and willingness to succeed. He just isn't able to do it because he's waiting for something else to prove his worth. That is, gaining recognition. Recognition from his father and the world. And maybe this isn't a means to an end, but an end in itself. It could be that he wants the top job to get recognition, or recognition to prove he can do the top job. I'm more inclined to believe the latter. It would explain why Kendall can't metaphorically kill his father. He needs recognition from him before he ever kills him, like Pennywise, but needs validation to kill instead of fear. The need for validation and recognition is also what shapes Kendall's moral compass. The good news is it makes him like a mold, subject to change, which might mean he's morally redeemable. The bad news is the values he espouses are more of an attention grab than an internalized system of beliefs. Nonetheless, in the immediate environment he finds himself in, being just and fair plays as well as dressing up a cute rabbit in a pit of snakes. Kendall switches between seeking recognition from his dad and powerful people to seeking it from the broader media and society. He eventually becomes stuck between the two. He doesn't really fit in either. This is what makes his loyalties so volatile. It also means he cannot take power for his own, unlike Logan. He doesn't have the inner stability or self-respect required, and always waits for it to be granted to him.
Can I do this? Can I win?
Logan grabs what he thinks he deserves with two hands. Kendall grabs only what is given to him by others. Last but not least, it's important to consider Kendall's inability to connect with people. I feel like the siblings look to Logan for ways to act like he is some perfect archetype of corporate competence. In my honest view, Logan has this aura that makes you hesitate a little, but he is a little overestimated.
He's not dad from 20 years ago. He's now dad.
Kendall often underestimates the power others, like his siblings, have in putting him on the glorious corporate throne. They are the ones who have the power to crown him, not Logan, whose sentiments change every full moon. There's a slight problem. Our eldest son is great at making pictures, he just fails miserably in connecting with his siblings. Season 3, Episode 2 illustrates this perfectly. He completely alienates Shiv, subtly putting her down.
Right now, I'm the real you.
He doesn't know how to placate their fears about Logan. Donuts are enough to put them off.
These are relevant donuts.
And Roman's trauma bond to his dad is hard to break, but Kendall doesn't help by undermining his competence by offering him Egypt in his corporate play fantasy. The positions of President of Waystar and Chairman were completely open. He does the same to Shiv and tries to sugarcoat the idea of him being the central player overseeing them. Logan, on the other hand, understands you have to relinquish power in order to gain it. He offers Shiv President of Waystar. And because of his shaky record, Kendall's siblings simply don't trust him. He treats their conversations like a pitch instead of, well, a conversation. It's filled with grand ideas.
We can become omninational and reposition.
And moral platitudes.
To move forward from a position of truth.
But do his siblings really care? All they're thinking about is A, what's in it for them, and B, is Kendall really able to pull this off? His track record gives nothing but doubt to those two questions. Kendall's job should have been making sure they feel more secure with him than with their dad. Not saying stuff like,
You're not wanted.
You're not wanted.
I hope the things I've covered today can shed a bit of light on the main protagonist of our story. There's a lot to talk about this guy, like the metaphor between him and water. Maybe I will in another video. I don't think I could ever cover it all, but I'm sure everyone watching can relate to him in some way or another. That's what makes him such a compelling character. I see some of my own flaws reflected in Kendall, underneath the multi-billion-dollar facade and power-loving speeches.
That magnificent, awful force of him.
He really just is a soft, harmless cushion who likes to plot a little bit of evil in his spare time. Alright, see you next time.